This is a beer week beer, right? This is the collaboration beer for the San Francisco chapter of the Brewers Guild, and we wanted to kind of like a little tip of the cap to all those great Bay Area beers, you know, that we all grew up with. Yeah. You know, the Red Tail Ale, the Red Seal Ale, right? How do we take this and modernize it and kind of like make it our own?
Yeah. I feel like you and I were in this corner, like trying to see, like,
see what we could get away with.
We schemed this.
But yeah, Magic and I were kind of in the corner, sort of seeing what can we get away with. You know, I like this, but I don't know if we can really sell it. But I think we kind of got most of our ideas. We spun them in a way that they were heard.
So the breakdown was 75% Red X.
Here, let me get the real numbers.
Round one, fight!
25%,
25% Feldblum, 0% Red Rye.
0% Red Rye.
We nixed that one pretty early on.
I think people expect, you know, traditionally for a red IPA, kind of like caramel malts, like sweet, super hoppy, high alcohol, heavy. What Red X, I think, brings to the table. I mean, it's just a great malt to add some nice color and some really like some body, but like not like cloyingly sweet and not a lot of that caramel malt character.
We should
that it's going to be super dry.
We need we're talking about Red X. We should take a look at this color here.
Yeah, sure.
Hitting your glass hard.
Yeah.
I mean, the color's nailed.
It's super
Absolutely.
beautiful.
It's gorgeous. Garnet.
So you mentioned fruitcake earlier.
So I think
that's what you get out of Red X.
Red X
lot,
is
right?
like a very light fruitcake earth. It's just elevating the fruit of all the hops as well. Even though the beer's pretty dry.
It's perceivably dry, yeah.
There's definitely body to it, but it's not sweet.
Right. Yeah. What was the percentage of red rye that was going to be added?
Round two, fight!
That was 2 bags. It was 2 or 3 bags per turn.
I think it was just going to be 2 bags per turn.
It was 2 bags per turn. Okay, so that would have been 0 bags per turn.
I was gonna say we're gonna get into the like what the discussion was of like because we talked about red rye.
We're like, what are the red ingredients? Red wheat? That's not even red.
Because we kept going. What's red?
Yeah.
I'll even go technical on it. Like if you go to the Red X website, they're like, if this is designed for a 12 Plato beer. If it's higher, which this is,
use
add a percentage. They literally say add a percentage of Pilsner malt. So what we did was literally to spec of what Best wanted for their malt, which is pretty damn cool.
And that's super
who cares
cool.
about
You should
Best?
let
What
them
about
know.
Admiral?
Yeah, so I feel like the Admiral gives this beer a level of that sort of nostalgic red IPA without it actually being the nostalgic red IPA.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? It's like a little bit like bready and like there's a little bit of character and body to it, but it's not like heavy. You had this great description earlier. It is a Vienna.
It's like a light Vienna malt. The Admiral album is like a light Vienna. So
what does that mean? A light Vienna malt.
So Vienna's got a little bit of toast, right? So you get some of those cool bready notes, but not as
toasty,
toasty, but just
toasty.
like light. Of the stuff they make and then that I've tried, the Admiral Feldblum is my favorite. So the dry hop on this is Citra, Strata, Galaxy, and I think they can be these high notes, but they're never the sharp ones. They're just like the juicy middle ones.
Yeah, ton of balance with that. Like you get the hops like from aromatics all the way through. You were mentioning earlier, Lester, like you get amazing hop flavor coming out of it.
I get hop density.
Yeah, you get a little piney resin on the finish, but like not overwhelming.
Without bitterness too, right? It lingers on your palate, but not in a astringent, bitter way. This has less kettle additions or hop additions, hot side, than even most of our hazy IPAs at this point.
Really?
We didn't want any sort of bitterness to like get in the way of that. We didn't want, like, yes, it's red, but we didn't want anyone to associate what it actually tastes like with an old school amber red ale.
When you're homebrewing or whatever, like, you know, you're adding hops during the hot side, right? And that's what gives you the bitterness. But you didn't do that at all, really. You did first wort, which explain to people what that means.
That means
because it's super unique.
Right as we're filling our kettle, we add a little bit of hop. So it's supposed to help with head retention. It's supposed to help with foam, like your kettle not foaming up. And if you read into why first wort hopping is even a thing, sugar compounds that like surround the hop oil.
Interesting.
That then get broken up during fermentation. That's why the softer bitters happens, because you're never actually converting it in the boil. But then the rest of the hops are in the whirlpool at a cooler temperature, because we drop the temperature of the whirlpool as well. So we made this mostly like a hazy IPA, but even more extreme.
Well, and people's palates have softened, right? So
That's
even people
very
that
true.
want the
Right.
West Coast, they want like a mild level of bitterness, right? They want more hop flavor.
They don't want 100 IBU beers anymore?
Yeah,
I know,
say,
right?
are we gonna ever see another 100 IBU beer?
New hops don't hurt either.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
for sure. I
that
mean,
does
these
Strata,
are completely
like-
new. I mean, maybe Citra is a little bit like been around,
I can't
but
believe that's
like,
an old hop now.
I
right?
know.
I know, right? Yeah. But I mean, Strata, Citra, Galaxy, like those are all great, like new wave, like hops that just, I mean, again, going to the flavor profile of this, so much flavor, so much like fruit, tropical fruit notes, pine resin. That in the middle, I feel
Yeah.
like, and pine resin on the
Yeah.
finish.
We need
So
to
I
pour
think
this
that's
in
what it gets
black
us.
cups and have people try it. Like,
I know, yeah.
And be like, what do you actually taste? Because I feel like we're drinking so much with our eyes with this.
We are.
Yeah.
But I think that's part of the deal because it's such a great color
Yeah.
that it has to be showcased.
And the irony is, like, there is no resinous hop in here, and that's
No.
what's so
No,
fun. It's
no.
like,
Yeah, right.
It's kind of like a mind freak here. It's like, how do we get this? Like, why is there a pine note in here? None of these hops that we added have piney notes, but I think Magic you alluded to earlier. It's like the idea of like you drink with your eyes as well, and you see
Yeah.
it, and you associate. Like this is, I mean, maybe this is our minds playing tricks on us.
I don't know, guavas maybe grow on pine trees. I don't know. And we actually dry hop this entire beer on day 0 in between knockouts.
Yeah,
While we were
that's awesome.
brewing this beer,
That's awesome.
as we're putting it in the fermenter, we added the enzyme and added the hops and
Yeah.
let it ride. Aromazyme is the brand name, but it's beta glucidase, and it's an enzyme that helps promote biotransformation. And
What
so-
is biotransformation?
Yeah.
Oh man, what is biotransformation? The transformation of certain terpenes into other terpenes.
That's just in the brewing.
You take one like geraniol that transforms to citronol. Probably not even pronouncing that properly, but removes the rough edges, the like green, grassy, the onion garlic components. It transforms a lot of those as well, which also allowed us to spun the tank.
That's super cool, right? It's
That's
like
super
the
cool.
carbonation that's in this beer, in this can, like the carbonation that is captured within fermentation itself. It's so exciting when you're able to like keep all the components that build up to something like intact. And in this case,
Got that.
yields smaller bubbles, yields finer bubbles, yields like more kind of nuanced flavor. And I feel like the carbonation is a little bit less acidic, right? It's a little bit less carbonic
Totally agree.
acid.
Yes,
Yeah,
A
absolutely.
little bit smoother
Yep,
and
yep.
like creamier, which is
Cleaner.
super fun.
One of the things that I think has been great about that trend is that brought more people in to experience a style like
Totally.
this that probably
100%.
most old school like red IPAs people would be like, you know, I don't know.
Sure.
I was gonna say fuck no, but I don't know. You'll probably bleep it out or whatever. But I drop the F-bombs every once in a while.
It's the one and only Digo Double G.
But you know, I mean, people steer away from that stuff, and I think this changes perceptions. Of, like, and it just is like
has the
this is the
opportunity.
new sort of like craft beer like trajectory is more approachable and a lot of flavor, which is
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
I think a lot of what we're learning, what I've learned in this process at least, is I don't know anything. And we've sort of, a lot of our thing was the crazier the better. But when we talk about what we did and put into it, I thought it turned,
There are a lot of
it
crazy
sounds
techniques,
insane,
a lot of crazy things.
techniques,
You're
but
totally
it
right.
doesn't, I don't think people are going to be like, oh, it's to this or to that. I think it's just really good.
It reminds me of like The Simpsons, you know?
What does that mean? You better say something or they'll think you're stupid.
Like it is a beer that can be enjoyed on a lot of different levels.
Totally.
Yeah.
I would have never thought of that.
Yeah, I
You know,
agree.
so for those like beer geeks or West Coast beer people, like you're gonna taste this and smell this and know that something is different.
Yeah.
And when you hear about it, Spunded, you know, uses aromazyme, all the hops were added. Day 0 by day 0 means like that's the day that the beer was brewed. You
Yeah.
didn't add multiple levels of dry hop to, you know, save aroma. It's like no, all went in at that one time. And so you kind of learn and appreciate that, but at the same time, if like you're not a huge beer geek, you can just drink this beer and be like, oh, that's a good freaking beer.
Totally,
And
exactly,
like that,
that's what I'm saying.
you know, to be able to like capture like both spectrum, both sides of the spectrum is like super, super exciting. And I think it's a
agree.
great like fit for, you know, a collaboration beer week
Yeah.
It is,
style
it is,
beer,
it is.
you know?
Yeah.
I think to your point, you know, Phil, it's like I think a lot of people have these brewers have these sort of preconceived notions of,
Totally.
of what you can do
Exactly.
to brew a beer and what is acceptable. And I think in doing collaborations is such a great opportunity to like break out of those traditions, try new things, and just see what happens. And that's like super, super fun.
I mean, this is the whole point, right? Of like different breweries in the region getting together and just swapping ideas, swapping like, hey, let's, we wouldn't do this normally in our day jobs, but like, what can we do to kind of push the boundaries, have fun, not worry about failure as much, and just be like, what can we do here to do something different and unique? And I mean, I know I personally had a great time just kind of, sitting, spitballing on recipes and on brew day, and then like now kind of sitting here and drinking it as the capstone. Like that's what it's all about, right?
I agree. I mean, we're all relatively experimental too. I mean, this really gets us to push boundaries. I mean, does it make you feel more comfortable to push further? I don't know.
I mean, I think if you're not pushing further, you're just pushing backwards.
You're right. You're right. Yeah, that's true.
Good point.
So, I mean, would you guys have made this beer sort of without?
I'm pretty sure Magic was pitching this idea for like a year. And we just kept saying,
you're pushing for
no. Let's wait for the idea. Let's wait for another reason.
I've been trying to incept this style of beer for about 6 months now.
Okay.
But
we
honestly,
ignored him for 5.5 months.
But I think something came together with, like, just continuing to learn. I'm always looking to see what products are out there, what we can use, and it's like learning about this enzyme. It was like, if this is about as crazy. I remember mentioning it to you.
Yeah.
We were sitting there, and I'm like, I don't even know. Like, maybe this will work. And it's like, you know what? Let's go for it.
Yeah,
Let's just try it. I mean, I was ready to dry hop this more. I had it allocated. Like, if this doesn't taste good, we got to throw more hops.
Figure
in.
it out. Yeah.
And then
more hops.
I came in every morning and would taste it in the morning and taste it in the evening, just like every day. And it was just like, oh my god, this is starting to become something. Like, I wanted to make sure this was good. Like this is representing SF, us, and now especially with like the guild becoming more than just SF and becoming the 5 regions: the East Bay, Silicon Valley, South Bay, North Bay.
Don't forget the coast.
And the coast.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know there's one more. The coast. It's being able to get breweries together that may or may not have normally done a collab together, or just getting those voices tighter and rotating them within the regions is really cool. And I'm really excited to try the other beers. I haven't had any of them yet.
I'm super excited to try the other ones. But like, when you are able to work with people that you like and respect and come up with like creative ideas in a smaller circle, like the best. I mean, you guys killed it with this beer, like executing it.
Really did,
by the way. And it's a great concept, and I think it's going to change the way people look at red IPAs and coming up with the concept of tropical red IPAs, like super appropriate. I mean, everybody's like, "What's that?" But it's like it doesn't need to have a style. This is just something completely different. It creates its own sort of channel to bring more people into the craft beer world. So it's good.
I agree. It's got a chance. This beer's going to do things.
Cheers, guys.
I mean, how many times do you see people drinking these things? It's great. A red color beer.
How many cans of these have we drank already?
This is our first can. What are you talking about? I know. We can have 3 takes. This isn't our 3rd full take. What are you talking about?
No.
Yes!
Level of high five. That happens after a half a beer.
Half a beer.
That's right.
Oh, man.